All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone. Really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to get to know A.GAME Consulting. I'm really excited for today. We are going to be looking at the A.GAME programs, but then more importantly, the second part is what I'm really excited about, and that's looking at and having a discussion with our special guest today. So again, thank you, and I welcome everybody. So the first part, what we're going to be talking about is more about the history of A.GAME. Who are we? What have we done? Where are we going? And what are some benefits of getting involved with A.GAME? So I'm just going to jump right in. I'm your host. I'm Kelly Leslie. I am the CEO and founder of A.GAME Consulting. I want to tell you a little bit about my backstory, especially within the Salesforce ecosystem. So in 2009, I was what's considered an accidental admin. And what that means is our organization at the time went ahead and purchased this thing called Salesforce. This was way back before Trailhead Community or Trailblazer Community was around. So Google became my best friend, and I quickly learned the do's and the don'ts. And I considered myself a self-taught admin. Quickly into the implementation of back in 2009, quickly realized, oh gosh, we need to have someone managing all of these different moving pieces within the organization that's hitting our Salesforce platform. So then I became a project coordinator, learned a lot about project management, and then also then played the role as a Salesforce admin. So let's fast forward a few years. Through my journey of being a Salesforce admin, I wanted to learn from the experts. Reached out to my first user group here in the Madison, Wisconsin area in 2013 and said, I need a consultant. Well, 6 months into that relationship of working with the consultant who is teaching me on the job of how to do process builder, workflows, automation, all of those bells and whistles of the tool, I decided to join his team. So at that stage, that's when my eyes opened up to, wow, you can do so much more than what the past organization was providing with the Salesforce platform. So I jumped right into the community. I started the Women in Tech chapter here in Wisconsin and began managing a lot of projects for the clients that we were working with. These were projects from development to optimization to brand new implementations. So the role that I played was very dynamic. It was really based on what the client was needing. Everything from collecting business requirements to timeline management, and also filling that gap of being the admin if that customer did not have one. So that's a little bit about me. So now let's talk about A.GAME and the history of A.GAME. So after I was consulting for about 3 years, I jumped right in and said, you know what? I want to start my own consulting company. Now, at that point, A.GAME Consulting was born in 2016, became a Salesforce consultant partner, and then I started contracting with other consulting companies to learn how they run their business, how I could maybe fit into missing gaps within the ecosystem. And that's where in 2017, that is where my services expanded, where I saw a niche within the ecosystem, specifically around the admin training. Now, this is not your typical go get certified admin training. This is more of use case admin training. So with that, I really evolved into more tailored training approaches and did a lot of self-study on how do adults learn, right? It's different than when you're a kid and you have to memorize all of these special dates, and, you know, it's really about theory and putting it to practice. So that's where I expanded my services. I also then tapped back into my project management ability and saw there was a huge gap in the project management world in the Salesforce ecosystem. So that's where I started, again, partnering with those consultants and bringing forth my project management skills. Fast forward now to just a couple years ago, I actually started to expand my knowledge more than just the Salesforce cloud for sales, but really started to look at other native apps, such as Financial Force. That's the back end of running a business. And then I also explored Conga being, a document generation tool, really helped streamline a lot of business processes. So A.GAME going forward, this is where we are today. It's ever evolving, which is the fun part of the company. So what we're going to be talking about today with our special guest is really looking at the Academy and the Advisor program. But at a high level, basically what we have is we have our Advisor service, we have our Academy service, and we have our Advocate service. What's really great about having all of these is this idea of building a stronger community of people supporting tech. Maybe you're not in the role of doing the tech, but you're supporting and you bring a value that's needed in order to see the tech projects evolve. So real quick, I want to spend some time and talk about A.GAME Academy, our business course that we're offering, and it is the Project Management Fundamentals. So our guest will be speaking about her program and her experience with it, but let me share a little bit about what we'd be covering together. We did go ahead and make some modifications from our last class with Pep Up Tech, and we actually broke it out into 4 weeks. Before it was 3 weeks, and we realized through the small group there was great conversation and dialogue happening that we needed to extend it. So it's now a 4-week program for the class. So in the first module, we look at the 5 different stages, and we start to understand what does it mean to manage the projects as it relates to each stage of a project. The second one, we move into looking at the initiation. So module 2 is the introductory. A lot of times organizations have project managers already, and project managers will see gaps in processes. And there's an opportunity for project managers to step in and lead and notice these very important elements of projects that could be happening within the organization. So we talk a lot about what does it mean to be part of the initiating stages. The third module is where we spend a lot of our time focused on planning and then introducing the execution of projects. So we continue with 6 knowledge areas from the PMBOK, which is the Project Management Book of Knowledge. And we move into these stages as we introduce processes along with inputs and outputs. Now, these are concepts and theories that a lot of experts in the PM space have kind of brought to the forefront of what works, what doesn't work, when to use these tools, when not to use these tools. So again, this is a really great opportunity for someone interested in learning about project management. The fourth module that we continue on with those 6 knowledge areas of the 10, and we look at what does it mean to be monitoring these projects? What do you do if there's a change? How do you manage those changes within a project? How do you manage your scope? So there's a lot that goes into monitoring that I feel project managers need to be more attentive to. So we talk a lot about that. And then we also talk about closing. So this is the quick, easy, however, very important element to a project. A lot of times organizations will just say, we don't have time for lessons learned, let's just move on. Whereas we as project managers really take full responsibility of ensuring that we're tracking things that went good, things that went bad, so that you can always reflect back. So those are the topics that we cover within our 4-week together in the course. So this next slide is actually going to be talking more specifically for you this is an opportunity for you to self-reflect. A lot within my classes, I have people write down their thoughts so that when we come back to discussions, it's right in their forefront. Again, this is an adult learning style that some people have to write, some are more visual. So with that, let's take just about 30 seconds, and I'm going to ask this question, and please write down your response. So go ahead and write down 3 reasons why you decided to join the call today. So I'll watch the time, and we'll give you about 10 more seconds. All right. So the next question I'm going to have you answer on your own is list 2 ways you could benefit from participating in Project Management Fundamentals course. 2 ways you could benefit if you participated in this. Go ahead and jot down your answers. I'll give you another few minutes. Awesome. So let's look at some of the common themes that I've seen throughout. One of them being, hey, you know what? Maybe you're interested in adding new skills to your tool belt. Maybe in this marketplace, you want to stand out. You want to really show your skill set of leading projects, no matter what role you'd be applying for. I really like this one. Maybe you've been unofficially leading projects and you're not even aware of that. I think it's really important for people to hone in on the methods as well as some concepts around project management, because as admins and or consultants or BAs, there's some level of managing projects that individuals need to be aware of. Maybe you're looking for a career advancement, or maybe it's a shift in your career. Project management in the Salesforce ecosystem is growing, especially in the consulting realm. Really want to encourage people to consider that when they're thinking of a career advancement. So these next 2 are really important. I mean, these are skill sets that you will be learning in the fundamentals that you can take into any business, no matter what the division or the department is. And it's very universal and it's unlimited to industries. You could be in government, you could be in financial services, you could be in manufacturing. There's always a need to lead projects with success. All right, so now let's talk about, you've enrolled in the class, what to expect. So this is a time commitment. I'm not going to say it's easy, but overall what we do is we meet weekly for 4 weeks. And each week we will have our 2.5-hour webinar style course, a virtual course, but I do encourage people to have webcam if it's available so that we can keep the dialogue going. And that's with your instructor, of course. In that same week, you will receive, after class, a homework assignment along with a quiz. And we also offer up office hours. Now, this is not a mandatory thing, but it's highly encouraged. So those are the hours that you would have to commit to. So roughly that's about, 5.5 hours based on how long the homework could take you. So let's look at a deeper dive of during each class. So during each classes, we will have one use case. I've received feedback from the last course that they would like to have more use cases. So that's going to be implemented into this next session. Providing examples and hands-on experiences for the students from a standpoint of templates. Every class we get a workbook at the end of the class of all the different templates that can be utilized at your discretion. I like to tell stories. I'm a storyteller. Maybe sometimes I talk too much. So with each story I share, there's a purpose behind it and there's an intention, which leads into really great conversation and discussions. This is one of the reasons why I like to keep my classes small, is we usually have between 4 and 6 people per class. And the reason why we structure it this way is for the adult learning theories. We like to process out loud. We like to have discussions of how it could relate back to day-to-day work. And these concepts really help us hone in on what the content is about. That is how we will retain as adults what we're learning. So post-class, as I mentioned, you will be receiving homework, there'll be reading assignments, and then there will be a quiz that's required to take. So before we move on to our guest speaker, the last slide I just want to share is what I've done is I've added our advisor sessions. So this has been modified slightly, where we will be offering 3 hours of one-on-one time with our advisor per student. And why is this important? With A.GAME, we like to invest in our students. We see there's a lot of value in the community, and we want to make sure that students don't just attend a course and forget about it. I know that's been my experience. I attend many courses online, and then I kind of brush it under the rug and be like, okay, yeah, so I attended. I don't really apply it. So within these sessions, I encourage the students to lead the discussion. What do they want to talk about in this time? Because every student is actually in their own journey. So I can't say, oh, I'm going to look at your resume, or I'm going to do like review your LinkedIn. Every student's different. Maybe it's, they want to be introduced more to the ecosystem. It's really an individual-led conversation. So that's a value add. I always like to put this in there because I value my students and the time and effort they're putting into it. And so for me, it's my favorite part of my program is working one-on-one with people. All right, so now I'd like to introduce our guest, a little bit about her. She will be sharing her story and her experience of going through the A.GAME Academy as well as the Advisor program. Really excited to have you on here with me today. She is a Pep Up Tech alumni. She has been through the RAD program, the Radical Apex Developer program. Very active in the community. If you haven't seen, she was just live on, what was it, Trailhead
DX keynote.
Yeah, that's so friggin' amazing. So, hey, I just want to turn it over to you and take this opportunity for you to tell us your story and how you got involved with not only A.GAME Academy, but in the ecosystem.
Alrighty. Hey everybody, I'm Marciana. I started out in Pep Up Tech through Monroe College. I transferred into Monroe College from another institution. When I got to Monroe, I fell in love with data, and I told my professor about it, and she recommended that I go to Pep Up Tech boot camp. I loved it so much that I went 2 more times after that. So I pretty much got used to the Salesforce ecosystem. When it was time to graduate, I got my first position as a QA analyst. After a year being a QA analyst, I moved to a publisher company to become a Salesforce admin. I became very active in the community because the community was so supportive of me when I first entered the very first boot camp all the way till now. So I've just been taking initiative and learning different aspects of the business so I can see where I can really fit. I took A.GAME Academy because I saw it was project management, and it was something that I thought about but I wasn't really sure if I should get into it, but I just wanted to see what it was about. Um, Kelly, you've been amazing, an amazing teacher, with the use cases and all of the sessions and just office hours and just getting to know us. And you really took the time to carve this special course for us. So thank you for that. It was great.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Again, it's an evolving course, right? It all is geared towards the students and really what the students value the most. So I have a question for you,
Mm-hmm.
and that would be, reflecting within our engagement together through A-Game, the Academy, as well as the advisor program. Um, what is something that you're going to take with you from your experience with A-Game?
Definitely going to take away the lessons that I've learned here, especially with time management and just overall confidence. I was in a career fair recently and I was asking a recruiter project management questions that we went over during our advisor session. And before me and the recruiter even parted ways, he added me on LinkedIn right then and there while we were talking. So I felt that the questions that we went over together really prepared me for not only the interview but for the job as well. So hopefully I'll be able to get that position.
Yeah, yeah. And what's fascinating about that, though, is again, with our advisor program, you brought the question up to me like, oh, what kind of questions should I be asking
Mm.
these recruiters if there's an opportunity present? So really, you brought the conversation to us or to me, and then you took it and you ran with it. So kudos to you for, you know, taking that initiative and thinking about your time with the advisor. So that's really cool to hear. Thank you for that. Any suggestions for like future academy students who would like to get engaged with this program? You had mentioned time management and building confidence. Can you speak to a little bit more to what you meant by time management and even confidence?
So I'll start with the confidence part first. Definitely seeing use cases that aligned with what real world scenarios. So we the fact that we got to go through the exercises together as a small group, we get to see different perspectives on how other people would handle it, and then you would choose which one is best for you.
Mm.
In terms of time management, all the worksheets, well, the workbooks, the pages in the workbooks, um, go through everything about how to with the stakeholders, going over like seeing how to manage communication and when to manage it, the communication matrix and stuff like that, like monthly meeting, weekly emails, that kind of time management.
Okay, I see. So it's really geared towards the content of the course that you took,
Mm-hmm.
not just in your personal life of having to manage, you're working full time, you're getting more active in the community, and you're now taking this class, and now you're doing the advisor program. So what I'm hearing you say, it's not only that element, but it's more so about what you've learned in the content of the course. Very cool. Very cool. So, what would you suggest would be the hardest part of the A-Game programs? I'm kind of throwing you under the bus here.
No, it's okay. So the hardest part was definitely the ending of it. A part of you was like, I don't want to leave. But the real hardest part was just getting used to realizing that we were already doing project management from the beginning. And it was like, wait, there's a name for it. So it was just that moment saying, oh, there was just that aha moment saying, oh, okay, so I've been doing this all along. There's
Yeah.
just no one decided to put a title for it. Because some companies, they gel it together, especially consulting. It's kind of gel together,
Mm-hmm.
um, from my experience. So that's.
Yeah, yeah. I think I want to reiterate what you just said because I feel like it's really important is that you've been doing project management. You just have never had the full tool belt, if you will, and or the labels that go along with it. So that's really cool to hear because I feel like as an admin, as a consultant, we all have to manage projects in some fashion. So going through this fundamentals course, it will give you the foundation needed to run a successful project without being the official, if you will, project manager. Now, the reason why I started this course too, if I can just share, is because as I was going through uh, looking for contract work, I noticed their qualifications is, leading projects or project management. And so that's where I kind of felt like this gap needed to be filled. We needed to really hone in on this skill set, no matter if you go into project management or you choose not to, right? It's a skill set that you can feel confident about of bringing into your next role or next journey of your career. So I want to say thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and what worked well for you. And I'm excited to see where you go with all of this. I'm just ecstatic.
Me too. I'm super excited.
Yeah. So let's just wrap up here. Again, thank you so much for your kind words. Really means a lot to me and the program. But really, just to recap, why the fundamental course could be important to you. And it's really understanding of the fundamentals of leading a project. Now, I keep saying unofficially versus officially. So what I mean by those terms is if you're a consultant or you're an admin, you may not have the title as a project manager, right? But you would have the fundamentals of understanding what you need to get accomplished to lead a successful project. The other thing I always suggest is take the course because it's a low cost and it will determine if project management could be a career path for you. I've had students in the past where they realize, no way, not for me. And that's cool. Again, it's an investment, but it's not a high dollar investment. The other element too, if you do decide project management could be a career path for you, it would be accounted towards the PMP certification application process. Now, note, this class is not a PMP certified course, it's a fundamental. So it's an introductory to the project management space. So the reason why I do that, again, is because I don't want to waste students' time or mine investing in these students that maybe realize I don't want to do project management. But if you do want to do project management, these 20.5 hours will be accredited towards the application process. If you have additional questions of what that process would look like, I'm happy to have a conversation with you to make sure you're feeling confident in the decision if you went for a future certification. And before we close, the last thing I'm going to say is there's a lot of great organizations out there doing project management courses. I think so really I just want to encourage you, if you have a niche that you want to explore it, go for it. What makes us stand out a little bit different is really I've designed the courses with the adult learning style methods. They're small classes, so it really allows for engagement. You're learning from your peers as well, where, it was just mentioned that you go through worksheets together and you see what people have done that maybe you pick up on during our class sessions. It's a group engagement. We really want to support one another and build a sense of community. And then the other element of why is explore it. See if project management is the right path for you. And then the really big piece for me is the time with the advisors. This is a one-on-one opportunity. Call it coaching, call it guiding, call it assistance, whatever you want. But the advisors are really why the program was developed. And then also be part of an advocate community. So this is a community that's going to be evolving. It is something that needs to happen. And that's meaning providing simple tools for future people to take into whatever role that they have or are seeking to get. So with that being said, I'd like to go ahead and just offer up this opportunity for anyone who's attended this call. You do get a promo code. It does expire July 1st. So I would highly suggest going out to our website of agameacademy.com and register using this code, and you will get an additional 50% off of the current price point. And these are your options. So again, it's a 4-week course, very interactive, and it's a way to get involved in a community of supporting tech. So with that being said, I would like to say thank you so much to our guest. Really appreciate you being on today and look forward to any questions that surface. You can always reach me at LinkedIn as well as Twitter. I'm at ChattyAdmin without the I, and or check out our website. So other than that, have a great day, and thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.